In today's video, we're going to talk about what it costs to live for a month in the Caribbean on a cruise ship. So let's go. What is going on, YouTube? Greetings from the beautiful Caribbean princess. A lot of you are like, hey, that looks like a green screen behind you. So I'm going to go ahead and spin around here so you can see it is the Caribbean princess. It is not a green screen. It's just beautiful out here. We are off the coast of the Virgin Islands right now. We're pulling into St. Thomas today, and I figured I'd take this opportunity sailing through these islands over here to do one of the most requested videos I get. How much does it cost to live on a cruise ship full time? And I figured I'd show you what it costs for me to live on this Princess Cruises ship called the Caribbean Princess in the Caribbean for a month. Okay, before we jump into the financials, I want to give you a quick cabin tour since that's what you pay for. If you want a more in-depth cabin tour of this specific cabin, I'll link it up here in the right, but I just want to show you what you get for your money. So this is an ocean view cabin. I booked an inside, I got upgraded. That happens sometimes. It's a typical princess cabin. You've got a super comfy bed, a desk, a refrigerator here to store your colder items. This is a 20-year-old ship, so it's a little bit dated, but still looks nice. You got the famous princess walk-in closet, which I love. They have the big walk-in closets on all their ships. It's my favorite closet on any cruise ship. Then we got the bathroom here. Some people hate the shower curtain. Doesn't bother me. Again, it's a 20-year-old ship, but it's nice and clean. I enjoyed my time in this cabin. Okay, so now you've seen the room that I'm staying in. And normally I would be in an inside, and I love an inside. And the price I paid, like I mentioned, is for an inside cabin. All right, so let's talk about first how I found this deal. So I have a whole video about how to find cheap cruises as a solo. I'll link it somewhere up here. I'll also put it at the end of the video so you can watch it after this video. But I'll give you a little Cliff Notes version. So I use the website Cruise Plum to find cruises. It's not a travel agent. It's just a search engine. They're not going to try to sell you anything. But for my money, it's the best way to find cheap cruises for solo cruisers. And that's where I found the 2 cruises I booked on Caribbean Princess that I'm showing you here today. After I found these cruises on Cruise Plum, I just went directly to the Princess Cruises website, logged in, and I booked these cruises. I also logged into Rakuten, which I have a link down below, but it gives you 1.5% cash back on your Princess Cruises. So that's another way to save a little money. I got a link down below. Check that out. Okay, that's how I found these cruises. So I booked 2 14-day cruises, so 28 days. These cruises could have been booked as 4 7-day cruises, but one of the great things about Princess is you can book 14-day cruises that are actually 2 7-day cruises, and they're usually a little cheaper to book them that way. So again, another way to save a little money. Let's jump into the receipts here so you can see what I actually spent on this cruise. When I talk about what a cruise costs, I'm including 4 different cruise costs. I'm including cruise fare, taxes, port fees, and the gratuities. I always prepay gratuities. I know some people don't do this, but I do. And I just consider it part of the cruise fare. And it's the total cost of a cruise for me includes gratuities. So I'll talk about that in here as well. But let's start off with my first 14-day cruise and what it cost. So as you can see in this receipt, my cruise fare was $987. My taxes and port fees were $265. And you'll see here, my gratuities were $224. So that's a grand total of $1,476 or about $105 a day. I always like to put what it costs a day, because to me, that's the true indicator of what a cruise costs. And I like to keep my cruises at around $100 a day all in. One thing I love about Princess Cruises is all the onboard credit I get. And on this cruise, it was no different. I got $575 onboard credit. Again, I have a video that explains how to find cheap cruises, and I talk about onboard credit in that video, but let me tell you the credit that I got on board Princess. So the first credit I got on board was military cruise credit. So I got $250, which you get for cruises that are 14 days and above. And all you need to do is be a veteran and send them your DD-214, and they'll register you, and you'll get that on every single cruise you take. It's a great benefit. I know some of you don't qualify for that, but there's other ways to get a similar benefit. I also own 100 shares of Carnival stock. Carnival owns a bunch of different cruise lines. Princess is one of them. With Princess Cruises, for a 14-day cruise, I got $250 onboard credit. To buy the shares of stock right now, it's under $1,000, so it's not a bad deal. If you take 4 cruises, it'll pay for itself and you'll still own the stock. The next type of onboard credit I have is called future cruise credit. So when you board any ship almost, you can go and buy a future cruise credit from the cruise line and you'll get that money refunded. Like here, I gave them $100 and they took $100 off the price of my cruise when I booked it. But because I bought the future cruise credit, they also gave me some onboard credit. It's up to $150. On this cruise, it was $75. So I had about $41 of onboard cruise credit a day for this 14-day cruise. And that offset a bunch of expenses that I had, like going and buying my fufu coffee, the cost of the internet, all the little things that you would normally pay for on a cruise ship that would drive up your costs of a cruise. I got to deduct from my cruise credit. And that's why this cruise was super inexpensive for me, and it was only really the price of the cruise. Hey, just a quick break to please the YouTube gods and algorithm. If you don't mind smashing that thumbs up button if you're enjoying this video. All right, back to the video. Okay, let's talk about my 3rd and 4th week, my second 14-day cruise and how much it cost. It was a little bit more expensive. It was $1,095 for cruise fare and $300 for port fees and taxes. We're going to a bunch of the Saints and the port fees are a little bit more expensive there. It's still a 14-day cruise, so the gratuities were the same, $224 for a total cruise price of $1,619 or about $116 a day. So a little bit more expensive than I'm used to, but I did get more onboard credit on this cruise than I did last cruise. I got $675. I got my military onboard credit. I got my shareholders credit. I got my future cruise credit, but I got one additional credit. Most of the time when Princess is selling cruises, they give some sort of onboard promotion for purchasing a cruise. On this cruise, I got an extra $100 onboard credit for booking when I booked. So that onboard credit was about $48 a day, and I use that for all kinds of things. I took an excursion, it paid for internet, it paid for fufu coffees, it paid for a specialty dining one night. So I really take advantage of that onboard credit to lower the cost of my cruises. And one of the reasons I love sailing with the Carnival Corporation so much, because I get so much onboard credit, it offsets other expenses that I might have on a cruise. Okay, so what is the total cost of these 28 days on board Caribbean Princess? So the first cruise, as I mentioned, was $1,476. That's cruise fare, taxes and port fees, and gratuities. The second cruise costs $1,619 for a total of $3,095 or about $110 a day. Okay, so this video is titled, "What does it cost to live on a cruise ship for a month?" So if you take that $110 a day times 30 days, that comes up to about $3,300 for a month on a cruise ship. I did forget to mention this at the beginning of this video. So I am cruising during one of the most expensive times to cruise the Caribbean. It is spring break. It's Easter today. So we're out here cruising with a ton of kids, a ton of families. So there was no way to really find a bargain to get on this cruise ship as a solo. So I could actually find cruises like this for much cheaper price at different times a year. So this is one of the most expensive times, and it only cost me $3,300 to live on this cruise ship for a month. So what do you think about that? Is that inexpensive to you? Is that expensive? Would you need it to be cheaper? If you do need it to be cheaper, check out my video up here on how to find cheap cruises. Thanks for watching. See you next video.